Hello everyone. Today I will start the topic latitudes and longitudes. So before we proceed on with the chapter, first we should know that what are latitudes and longitudes. In this chapter we will see that how many lines of latitudes and longitudes are there, what is their importance, okay, then how do we find out the distance of a place from the equator, okay. So all these things I will cover in this topic. Okay, so first let us begin with latitudes. Okay, now see, if you have ever seen a globe, then on the globe you must have seen that there are some vertical lines, and there are horizontal lines. Okay. These vertical lines which I have drawn, they are the lines of longitude, and these horizontal lines which I have drawn, they are the lines of latitude. Okay, this too you all must be knowing that the vertical lines are called the lines of longitude and the horizontal lines are called the lines of latitude. Okay, now whenever a line of latitude and a longitude, whenever they meet each other, they form a geographic grid. Okay, what is a grid? A grid basically comprises of tiny squares. Okay, so this is one grid, this is another grid, this is another grid, this is another grid. So how are these grids formed? These grids are formed whenever a line of latitude and longitude intersect each other. Okay, so what is this? This is called a geographic grid. Okay, so I hope it is clear till here. Okay, now we will proceed on with latitudes. Okay, we will see that what are latitudes, how many latitudes are there. Okay, see. Okay, so we will start with latitudes first. We will see that how many lines of latitudes are there. We will see that how the distance of a place is calculated from the equator. Okay, and what is the importance of latitudes. Okay, now see. First I will be telling you the important lines of latitude. Okay, this is 0 degree. This is the 23.5 degree south latitude. This is 23.5 degree north latitude. This is 66.5 degree north latitude. This is 66.5 degree south latitude. This is south pole. South pole is 90 degrees south, and this is north pole. North pole is 90 degree north. Okay, so these are the most important lines of latitudes which can be seen on a globe. Okay, so this is the equator, you all must be knowing. This is the Tropic of Cancer, this is the Arctic Circle, and this is the North Pole. This is Tropic of Capricorn, this is Antarctic Circle, and this is the South Pole. Okay, now one important thing which you have to remember from here is that the equator is known as the Great Circle. Okay, why the equator line is known as the Great Circle? Why? Because the equator line is the biggest circle which can be drawn on a globe. Okay, the equator line or the 0 degree line is the biggest circle which can be drawn on a globe. That's why it is called a Great Circle. Okay, so this is this 0 degree line is called the Great Circle. अच्छा, this is one side of the earth. इसके पीछे भी तो एक side होगा ना earth का. So this makes one complete circle. So remember, the 0 degree or the equator line is basically the largest circle which can be drawn on the globe. That's why it is called the Great Circle. Biggest circle, longest circle which can be drawn on the globe. Okay. Now, one more important thing which you have to know is that the lines of latitude, it goes on, the length of the lines goes on decreasing as we are moving to the north or to the south. This is the longest line which can be drawn on the globe. That's why it is called the Great Circle. But as I am moving to the north, then see the lines, the length of the lines goes on decreasing. The length of the lines goes on decreasing as we move either to the north or to the south. Okay, so remember, this is a very important thing. The length of the lines goes on decreasing as we move to the north or south of the equator. Okay, now one more important thing which you should know is that the distance, suppose this is 0 degree है ना, इसके ऊपर 1 degree होगा, then 2 degree, then 3 degree. Okay, it will move on like this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and you should know the distance between each and every line of latitude is 111 kilometers. Okay, one more important thing which you should know here is that this, the length, I have told you na, the length of the equator is the longest one as compared to all the lines of latitudes. So what is the length of the equator? The length of the equator is somewhere around 40,056. Okay, 40,056 kilometers. So this is the length of the equator or the Great Circle. But this 66 degree is the Arctic Circle, है ना? But the length of the Arctic Circle is just half of what the equator is. So the Arctic Circle length will be somewhere around 20,000 kuch hoga. Okay, why? Because the length of the lines of latitude goes on decreasing as we are moving to the north or to the south. Okay, so अगर equator की length अगर 40,056 कुछ ऐसी इसी के आसपास हो, Arctic Circle में क्या होगा? The length will be halved, कम हो जाता है. Okay, the length will be somewhere around 20,056. Okay, एकदम half हो जाएगा. But और 90 degree पे क्या होगा? 90 degree north और south पे it will just be in the form of a tiny dot. Length बहुत ही कम है. ठीक है? Okay, so these are the important lines of latitudes. Okay, now we have to see that how many lines of latitudes are there on the globe. So this is 0 degree. 0 degree के ऊपर there are 90 lines. 0 degree के नीचे again 90 lines and plus 1. This equator line. Okay, plus 1. So how many lines of latitudes are there? 181. Okay, 181 lines of latitudes are there. Okay, so now we have seen that total lines of latitudes are 181. Okay, now one important question for you all. These lines of latitude are also known as, can anybody tell me? The lines of latitude are also known as the parallels of latitude. Okay, remember this one also. The lines of latitude are also known as the parallels of latitude. Why they are called parallels of latitude? Because they lie parallel to the 0 degree line. At the beginning only I told you that whenever we are studying about latitudes, we consider the 0 degree line or the equator line as the baseline. Okay, so that's why all the lines of latitude are called the parallels of latitude. Okay, so let us quickly recapitulate whatever we have studied about latitudes. First, a latitude is just a horizontal line, okay, which is drawn on a globe. Okay, next, there are total how many lines of latitudes? 181 lines of latitudes. How come? 90 lines in the northern hemisphere, 90 lines in the southern hemisphere, and one line, this center 0 degree line. So total 181 lines of latitude. The lines, the third important point, the lines of latitude are also known as the parallels of latitude. Fourth important point, as we move to the north or south of the equator, the length of the lines of latitude goes on decreasing. Okay. Fifth important point, the equator is also known as the Great Circle. Why it is called the Great Circle? Because it is the biggest circle which can be drawn on a globe. This circle has got the longest length. Okay, so that's why it is called the Great Circle. Next, the next important point is that the length of the equator is 40,000, around this 40,056 kilometers. But as we move upwards, as we move to Arctic Circle, the length just becomes half. Okay, it is somewhere around 20,000. Okay, so remember, and one more important thing, these are the important lines of latitudes. Okay, 0 degree, equator, Tropic of Cancer, Arctic Circle, this is the North Pole, then this is Tropic of Capricorn, Antarctic Circle, and this is the South Pole. Okay, so these are the important lines of latitudes. Now we proceed on to the importance of latitudes. Why are latitudes so important? Now see, latitudes are important in order to find out the location of a place, whether a place is located in the northern hemisphere or in the southern hemisphere. Okay, now this location of a place is called the angular location. Suppose Delhi is located in the northern hemisphere, north of the equator. Okay, so I have come to know that Delhi is located to the north of the equator. How? If I consider this as the baseline, then only I will come to know that Delhi is located to the north, in the northern side, in the northern hemisphere. Okay, so with reference to this line, I can come to know that Delhi lies in the northern hemisphere, and Australia or Sydney lies in the southern hemisphere. How we are seeing this? We are considering this as the baseline. Okay, so latitudes help us to know the location of a place. Okay, this location is called the angular location. What? This is called the angular location of a place. Okay, whether a place is located in the northern hemisphere or in the southern hemisphere. Next important thing, now with the help of latitudes we can see the distance of any place from the equator. Okay, suppose Delhi lies around suppose 30 degree north latitude. Okay, so if I am asked to calculate the distance of Delhi from equator, so how will I calculate this? First I will write this. What I will do? First I will write 30 degree है ना, so I will write 30. Okay, see this. I will write 30 into 111. Okay, yes. So why 111? Because I have told you this, that the distance between each and every line of latitude is just 111 kilometers. So I have just multiplied it. 30 into 111. Whatever is the answer, that answer will be the distance of this place from the equator. If I have to find out the distance of Sydney from the equator, how will I find out? Suppose Sydney is located around 60 degree south latitude, okay, or 50 degree south latitude. So what will I do? I will write 50 into 111. Whatever is the answer, that will be the distance of that place from the equator. Okay, now one more important thing, the lines of latitude, these lines of latitude also tell us about the heat zones. So you all must be knowing there are three heat zones: the torrid zone, temperate zone, and the frigid zone. Okay, so this equator part, the equator receives the 0 degree. The equator receives the direct rays of the sun throughout the year. So that's why this region has got the highest temperature all throughout the year. The temperature here is high throughout the year. It is hot, humid. Okay, and equatorial rainforests are also found here. Why dense equatorial rainforests are found here? Because of the high temperature, high humidity. Okay, next as we move north, so this torrid zone lies between 0 to 23.5 degree north or south latitude. Okay, this is basically the torrid zone. This zone, the temperature of this zone is high throughout the year. Now from 23 to 66 degree. From 23 to 66 degree north, from 23.5 degree to 66.5 degree south. Okay, this part is called the temperate zone. Okay, the temperate zone, here in this zone the temperature is moderate, means it is neither too hot nor too cold. Okay, why it is so? Because this region receives the slightly slanting rays of the sun. Okay, so that's why the temperature here is neither too hot nor too cold. One important fact which you should know here is that this is the 23.5 degree north line. Okay, equator, this Tropic of Cancer, it passes through the middle of India. Okay, the Tropic of Cancer passes through the middle of India, dividing India into two climatic zones. The northern part lies in the subtropical zone and the temperate zone, and the southern part of India, the South India, lies in the tropical zone. Okay, that's why South India is comparatively warmer than all the northern states. Okay, because it lies a little bit close to the equator. Okay, it lies in the torrid zone. Okay, okay. Now proceeding further, this zone is called the frigid zone. Okay, this zone has got all the ice caps, glaciers. Okay, why so? Because here the rays of the sun are very slanted. Very little sunlight comes here. Okay, that's why, since there is no sunlight or less sunlight, so that's why ice caps and glaciers are found here. Iceland, Antarctica basically lies in these frigid zones. Okay, so these are the zones of the earth. Okay, so what is now again recapitulating everything, the importance of latitudes. First, latitudes are important to find out the location of a place. It tells us whether a place is located in the northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere. This is called the angular location of a place. Second, it is useful to find out the distance of the place from the equator. Suppose Delhi is located around 30 degree north latitude, so I will find out the location or the distance of this Delhi from the equator. How? By multiplying it with 111, 30 into 111. Whatever is the answer, that is the distance of this place from the equator. Okay, and the third importance of latitude is that it tells us about that which place comes in which heat zone, whether a place comes in the torrid zone, temperate zone or frigid zone. Okay, torrid zone receives the direct rays of the sun throughout the year, so it is so here the temperature is very high. In the temperate zone, the temperature is moderate. Okay, moderate means neither too hot nor too cold, and in the frigid zone the temperature is very low. That's why ice caps and glaciers are found here. Why the temperature is low here? Because this region receives very slanting rays of the sun. Okay, sunlight here is very limited. That's why ice caps and glaciers are found here. Now we will start with longitudes. Okay, we will see that what are longitudes. Okay, okay, so what are longitudes? Longitudes, before the beginning of the chapter only I have told you that longitudes are the vertical lines which are drawn on the globe. Okay, so just like in latitudes there was a baseline equator, similarly in longitudes also there is a baseline, and that baseline is 0 degree. Okay, remember there is one 0 degree baseline whenever we are talking about longitudes also. Okay, see, longitudes are this, the vertical lines. Okay, these vertical lines which you see on the globe, they are the lines of longitude. The lines of longitude are also known as the meridians of longitude. The lines of longitude are also known as the meridians of longitude. Okay. So remember, whenever we are studying about longitudes, then there is a baseline. Okay, that baseline is 0 degree. Okay, and the line which lies just opposite to 0 degree, that is called the just diametrically opposite to this line. This is on the other side, it will be called 180 degree line. Okay. Okay, so on one side of the earth, on one side of the globe it is 0 degree, and on the other side of the globe, just diametrically opposite to the 0 degree line is the 180 degree line. This 0 degree line is called the prime meridian. Okay, and the line which lies diagonally opposite to this line, okay, this is called the international date line. Okay, this is called the international date line. Remember, the international date line is not a straight line. It passes through many countries, it passes through many oceans. That's why it is not a straight line. And the prime meridian, it passes through Greenwich. It passes through Greenwich in England. Okay, it passes through the Royal Observatory, which is in Greenwich and England. Okay. So, one more important thing which you have to know is that this 0 degree line together with the 180 degree line makes up the great circle. Okay, it makes up the great circle. 0 degree line and 180 degree line, दोनों को मिला के बनता है great circle. Okay. Okay. So how many lines of longitudes are there now? The lines of longitudes are 360. There are 360 lines of longitudes or 360 meridians of longitudes. Okay. Now, one more important thing which you have to know is that the longitudes, each and every longitude is in the shape of a semicircle. Okay, they are not complete circles, just like the latitudes. They are not complete circles. They are semicircles. Each and every longitude is a semicircle. Okay, the length, another important point, the length of each and every longitude is same. Okay, the length of each and every longitude is same. Okay, whether it is this or this, the length throughout the globe, it will be the length of each and every longitude is same. Okay, but the distance between the distance of the longitude decreases as we move towards the poles. Okay, the distance of the longitude decreases as we move towards the poles. So again, so that's it. So let us quickly recapitulate the important points whatever we have studied under longitudes. First, this 0 degree line is called the prime meridian line, and the line which lies diagonally opposite to 0 degree line is called the 180 degree line or the international date line. Together 0 degree and 180 degree line makes up the great circle. Okay, how many lines of longitudes are there? There are 360 lines of longitudes. Acha. All the places which lie in the eastern side of 0 degree, they lie in the eastern hemisphere, and all the places which lie on the western side lies in the western hemisphere. So longitude decides whether a place lies in the eastern hemisphere or western hemisphere, whereas latitude decides whether a place lies in the northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere. Okay, so that's it. And the meridian, these are called the meridians of longitude. The length of each and every meridian of longitude is same, but the distance of the distance between each and every meridian of longitude decreases as we move towards the poles, but at the equator it is not so. Okay, it is normal, but as we move towards the poles, then the distance decreases. Okay, the distance decreases. Okay, see, the distance is decreasing. Here it is not so. but here the distance is decreasing. As we are moving towards the poles, the distance decreases. Okay, यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं होता है. यहाँ पे as we move towards the poles ना, the distance starts decreasing. And what is the importance of this longitude? Longitude helps us to determine the date, time. Okay, most importantly time. Okay, so our country has also got our country has also got a standard time meridian. Okay, that is a longitude only. So remember, longitudes are important for finding out the time of a place. Okay, date and time of a place. As we move to the east, time gains by 4 minutes. As we move to the west, we lose time by 4 minutes. Okay, that's it. Now we will see that how to calculate the time of a place. Okay, in the next.